It's nice to see many of my good friends. When I see my good friends, it inspires me. Thank you, my good friends. I always feel very, very comfortable in this temple. Thank you for being a loving congregation. It makes my job that much easier. Well, thank you. So, the chapter that we're on right now, the sages of Naimisharanya have gathered to perform a sacrifice for 1,000 years. And the way they're going to do this sacrifice is they want to hear the science of God, or Srimad Bhagavatam, from Sutta Goswami, because he had just heard it when it was first recited by Shukadeva Goswami to Maharaj Parikshit. So they have asked Sutta Goswami some questions, and in this chapter he has begun to answer. So here's the verse where we left off. Yad anudyasina yukta karma granti nibandhanam chindanti kovidastasya ko na kuryat kata ritim. Can you please repeat? With sword in hand, intelligent persons cut through karma, the binding knots of reactionary work, by remembering the personality of Godhead. Therefore, who will not pay attention to his message? So, he's asking a rhetorical question because the sages, they're all brahmanas, they know very well. But let's answer. Who will not pay attention to his message? The non-devotee, the gross materialist. Or if we look at one of Krishna's statements in the Bhagavad Gita, Namang Duskutino Mudha Prabhajante Naradama Maya Aparita Jnana Asurang Bhavam Asrita. Just prior to that statement, that's in chapter 7, Krishna explained 4 kinds of persons who begin to render service. The distressed, the inquisitive, one who is actually searching for the absolute truth, and the one needing money. If these people are pious, they approach God. But then after that statement, Krishna says, but now there are 4 people who do not surrender to me, who do not worship me. They are known as Duskritina, bad people. Unfortunately, in this world, there are good people and there are bad people. You know this very well. You deal with this every day. You come in contact with so many people. Some people, they're good. Some people, you can see by their actions, by how they talk, they're just bad people. Duskritina. Mudha. The next is the Mudha. The Mudha says, I don't care about God, I don't care about religion, I just want to work and work hard. That's all I know. I want to eat, I want to sleep, I want to have sex, I'll defend myself. I don't care about religion or God. I just want materialism. Go away. Mudha actually is a very strong word Krishna uses. One definition of mudha, jackass. You could use that you could give different, but that's one. It's a very strong word, mudha. If you call somebody a mudha, it's like very heavy. Then the next class, Maya Aparita Jnana. These are the intelligentsia, the politicians, those who are very, very well situated in the material, but they also want nothing to do with God. They're very puffed up. They're very proud of their material abilities and talents. They're arrogant. They're very, very so caught up in their own abilities. They even look down on people who believe in God. Have you ever met those kinds of people? I have met. That they find out you believe in God and they look at you as if you're less intelligent. You're not sophisticated. Then the last class, Asuram, the out and out demon atheist who hates the very existence of God and devotee. Here was the first demon, Hiranyakashipu. He was the first. That's why I sometimes make a joke. Founder Acharya of the demoniac sampradaya. Now in Kali Yuga we have many Hiranyakashipus. You see them now, they're running for president. So these kinds of people, they do not pay attention to the message of God. But you do. Otherwise you would not be here. That is why this class, not my class, but a kata on the science of God is very important. And Prabhupada in his temples insisted, hey, you don't come to the temple just to ring the bell. There must be classes on the science of God, morning and evening. People need to be educated in the, using the word, science of God. Yes, nobody has to get, I very much identify with that phrase that Prabhupada used, science of God. That is what Srimad Bhagavatam is. The science of God, meaning you follow these procedures, you will get a predictable result. And as I said at the very beginning, for those who came a little late, the goal, the actual goal of religion is love of God. If you execute the items either in Bhagavad Gita or in the Srimad Bhagavatam, which is the science of God, you will gradually develop love of God. Why? This is another important item of Lord Chaitanya. Love of God is already there in your heart. It's not something outside, it's already there. It just needs to be awakened. That's all. It may be covered due to a particular person's past karma, but this process is so powerful that if you execute these items, gradually love of God becomes awakened. So even this verse, Sutta Goswami says, so I'm going through this verse backwards. They cut through karma. We all have a history of karma going back millions and millions and millions and millions of lifetimes. So he uses the phrase binding knots. That's what karma is, a series of binding knots. But there's a sword. If you have a powerful sword, you can cut those knots. So that sword, he gives the answer, remembering the personality of Godhead. That's your sword. Now, if you think about that, is there anything stopping you from remembering God at any time other than your own misuse or waste of time? If you want, At any moment, you can remember God. That's why devotees, they always carry their beads. As soon as the opportunity, Hare Krishna, Hare, immediately remembering God by hearing the sound vibration. Because the name of God is God. It's not a symbol. The name of God is God. It's just a question of realizing it. So, this chanting or the process of remembering God is a powerful sword. You all know very well, somebody was on their deathbed. He was so sinful that the Yamadutas were trying to take him to hell, and he uttered one name, Narayan, everybody. Narayan. And he was delivered. Is there any doubt now about this process of remembering and chanting the name of God? That's simply one utterance. There's not the least exaggeration, and this is not just some story. Shukadeva Goswami tells this in the 6th canto to Maharaj Parikshit. He said, I heard this from an ancient rishi, Shukadeva tells Parikshit. Because where does that story come? It comes after Shukadeva went through describing the 28 hells. Yes. The final chapter of the 5th canto is a tour of hell. Very descriptive. If you did this sinful activity, this is what to expect. So Parikshit, after hearing this chapter, got very worried. Everybody's going to go to hell. And so Shukadeva said, listen to this. And that's exactly what was happening to Ajamil. The Yamadutas were not taking him to the heavenly planets. They were going to drag him to hell, the subtle body. But that one utterance of, that, come on. One more time. Very good. Very good. So the devotee always wants to remember. In fact, when Lord Chaitanya was instructing one of his disciples, he was going through a whole catalog of various items of devotional service. And he said, wait a second. I'm just going to give you the mother of all instructions. One instruction is the mother of all other. Always remember Krishna, never forget him. And in the Vedas, when two instructions are given, the last one takes precedent. Always think of Krishna, never forget. If you never forget, you're always remembering. Lord Chaitanya says that is the ultimate instruction. Always think of Krishna, never forget him. And that's why Lord Chaitanya says, Kirtaniya Sada Hari. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare.
Krishna, 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 Hare Rama,
We shall go on to the next delicious verse. Because these verses in Bhagavatam, in the very beginning, Vyasadeva says, Pibata. Pibata. Bhagavatam is drunk because this is liquid nectar. But for what organ? Not for the mouth, for the ear. Srimad Bhagavatam is liquid nectar for the ear. And you drink because when you come to Srimad Bhagavatam, you now have transcendental senses. A gross materialist cannot understand Srimad Bhagavatam. It's like this, above his head. But a devotee can easily understand Srimad Bhagavatam because he has developed transcendental senses. So he drinks Bhagavatam through the ear. So, just like you all like paramana, sweet rice, right? Or if you're Gujarati, you like that rus, right? I like rus also. That rus is too good, right? Drink, nice. So this Bhagavatam is also rus, but not for the mouth. That will get after the arti. This rus is for the ear. And later on in Canto 3, Kapila Dev will tell his mother, Rasayana Katha, that this rus enters the ear and pierces the heart. When the heart is pierced, that's it. You have become captured. Let's do the next verse. Shushrusho Shadadanasya Vasudeva Katharuchi Syan Mahat Sevaya Vipra Punyatirtha Nishevanat. Would you please repeat? O twice born sages, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice, great service is done. And by such service, one gains affinity for hearing the messages of Vasudeva. I know one devotee, maybe you know him, he's the temple president of Los Angeles. This is one of his favorite verses. So whenever I see that verse, I remember him. So, Sutta Goswami is speaking to an assembly of Brahmins. I feel the same way. When I come here, I'm speaking to an assembly of devotees. Therefore, it is very enjoyable to come here and speak, because all of you are in rapt attention. So then he says, serving those devotees who are completely freed from all vice. Vice means sin, which is why Prabhupada insisted, if you are going to be his disciple, you have to give up the 4 pillars of vice. Vice is under a roof. A roof has 4 pillars. So what are the 4 pillars of vice? Animal slaughter, intoxication, gambling, illicit sex. These 4 things have to be broken. You have to give up these things. So at the time of initiation, in front of the deities, in front of the sacrificial fire, in front of the spiritual master, in front of the assembly of devotees, you publicly announce that from this day forward, I will refrain from these 4 pillars of sinful life. And there are 4 pillars of religious life: cleanliness, austerity, truthfulness, and mercy. This is what we call universal religion. In selecting a religious process, you want to find that process which has the maximum amount of truthfulness, austerity, cleanliness, and compassion and mercy. That's how you distinguish, because there are so many religions out there. Myself, I was not raised in the Hindu religion. But when I started to read these books, Gita, Bhagavatam, I could at least appreciate, now here is the Cadillac of religions. Here is the best. And I have not seen anything better. That's why I am very, very easy to say, whether it be the Pope, Donald Trump, whoever, you cannot provide for me a better system of religion than what we are following here. If you think you can, present your case. But do you have samosa? Do you have prasadam? Do you have beautiful God? Or do you have some old man in a beard? No. Every aspect is superior. If somebody can present something better, I'll give it a look. But I'm 65 years old. I haven't seen it. I'm quite satisfied. Quite satisfied. So, we want to serve persons who are freed from vice. That is the spiritual master. So sometimes the question is asked, Prabhu, how do I know who's the spiritual master? Very simple. Is he freed from sin? Is he following truthfulness, austerity, cleanliness, mercy? Has he given up illicit sex, intoxication, animal slaughter, and gambling? For me, it was very simple. One look at Srila Prabhupada. Done deal. Just by reading his book, I could see this is the person I want to dedicate my life to. Hearing him, seeing him, there's no doubt in my mind, this is the person, because it says here, by serving those devotees who are completely freed from vice, great service is done. And now this next statement of Sutta is very important. There's a way to check. It's not blind. It's not that just do what we say and after you die, you'll get the result. No. I don't accept a post-dated check. You all work. If your boss says, here's a check for $2,000, but you can't cash it until 2020, are you going to accept that? Bye-bye, boss. You don't accept a post-dated check. So in religion also, don't accept a post-dated religion. But here, Sutta Goswami is saying, you can test whether or not you are serving someone free from vice and whether it is actually great service. Why? One gains affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. So, ask yourself, how much time do I spend watching TV? How much time do I spend reading Bhagavad Gita? How much time do I spend watching cricket? And how much time am I reading Srimad Bhagavatam? How much time am I spending watching, Bollywood? Huh? And how much time am I spending studying Bhagavad Gita? Now you can test for yourself where you are at spiritually. Really simple. Really simple. How much time am I spending chanting, hearing, serving, coming to the temple, associating with devotees? How much time am I spending doing other things? Very simple. There's no real competition. It's just you and God. That's it. Because you all know better than me, when we die alone. Our relatives, our family members are around us crying. What can they do? There's this phrase in the Bhagavatam, later on in this canto, when you're in the jaws of the serpent, meaning clutches of death, nobody can help you. Doctor, please give me just one more year because I have to tie up all these loose ends. Doctor, sorry. No doctor can do that. He can't guarantee nothing. I used to say it all the time. Once in 1995, I went to India. So when I came back, I had a bronchial infection. So at that time, I had my office at the LA Temple, and around the corner was Dr. Bhuta. He was a Jain, but he was a doctor. So I said, let me go see Dr. Bhuta. He took good care of me. But I asked him, we were talking, and I said, Doctor, how much does the medical profession know? And he frankly said, 20%. I said, Doc, 20%? That's F. They only know 20%. That means we don't know. That means birth, death, old age, and disease, as Krishna says, they're always going to be there. And I have seen in my life, as the years go by, they solve one disease, and sure enough, a new one props up. So it's an endless cycle. If anyone's a doctor, don't get offended, okay? Doctors are great. I go see a doctor, don't worry. But the truth is the truth, all right? 20%. That's what he said. That's not what I said. That's what he said. But I know for certain, one disease, we've conquered this disease. Then the next day, oops, we just discovered a new one. Even last year, they had this one disease, I forget what it was, and it was like becoming an epidemic, and everybody was freaking out. People were dying like something. It was like something, of course, from Africa, you know. Seems everything comes out of there. So, you can tell that you're making spiritual advancement because you have an affinity for hearing the message of Vasudeva. There it is. Am I more attracted to hearing and chanting and thinking and discussing God, or am I more attracted to doing other things? We have time for one more verse. Everybody chant the Maha. And it just so happens, this is one of my favorite verses in the Bhagavatam. I didn't think it was going to happen so soon, but this verse, I love this verse. And I remember Prabhupada, I used to listen to this tape of Prabhupada speaking on this verse. Srinvatang svakata Krishna punya shravana kirtana hridiyanta stohi abhudrani vidhu noti surit satam. I love this. Please repeat. Sri Krishna, the personality of Godhead, who is Paramatma, super soul in everyone's heart, and who is the benefactor of the truthful devotee, cleanses desire for material enjoyment from the heart of the devotee who has developed the urge to hear his message, which are in themselves virtuous when properly heard and chanted. So this is what we are doing right now. Shrinvatang Svokata Krishna. We are hearing the message of Krishna. That is what Srimad Bhagavatam is. It's the message of Krishna. Or, for my good friend Kamlesh, the message of Krishna is, but what book? Bhagavad Gita. These two books are the message of Krishna. Bhagavad Gita is spoken directly by Krishna, and Srimad Bhagavatam is spoken by devotees of Krishna. Equally powerful. Then it says, Punya Sravana Kirtana. This hearing and chanting is making you not just pious, super pious. Because pious simply refers to material good. But Bhagavatam is doing more than that. It is benefiting you transcendentally. You're getting so much benefit just by sitting and trying to hear. I know it is hard to sit and listen. I know. I'm well aware. That's why my job is such, I have to make it in such a way that I make it easier. I try to make it in such a way that it's worth your time. And I will continue to try. And I will try even better and better as long as you keep inviting me. Okay, thank you. Thank you. So just to come and hear is itself the most, I'll put it this way, the most pious activity. In other words, there is nothing you could be doing right now better than being right here. Don't think that you're missing, that you're wasting your time. This, what you're doing right now, is the topmost pious activity. You're set. You're blessed. This is the real Ashirvad. Is Krishna here? Is he looking at you? And from time to time you're looking at him? Good. You're hearing the Katha? Punya, the topmost pious activities. Now, Hridi antatsto hi abhadrani. One of Meenakshi's favorite deities, Subhadra, right? Bhadra means good. Subhadra means very good, but Abhadra, bad. But somebody is in your heart. Who is it? Krishna. Krishna is in your heart. Now, vidhunoti surit satan. As long as you are even trying to hear, right now Krishna in your heart is working, cleansing. What's he cleansing? Abhadra. All the bad things in your heart. Sri Sri Radha Raman Bhagavan Ki. This is what I mentioned in the beginning. In bhakti, there's an exchange of love. So because you agreed to come here, sit here, and lend your ears, Krishna is smiling upon you like anything right now in your, he's so pleased with you. And right now, what is he doing? Removing all the bad things in your heart. That is why this is the real Ashirvad. Not when you come up after the program and I come and This is the real Ashirvad. Krishna is doing that right now. According to this verse, vidhunoti, cleansing. Before you came, Raghunandan took out the vacuum cleaner and cleaned because it was very messy. And then after, when everyone takes prasad, there's that one gentleman, he comes and he vacuums again. That's very, 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 very good, very, very important. Because by cleansing the temple, you're also cleansing your heart. And that's the whole process. The whole process of Lord Chaitanya. Chaito Darpana Marjanam. Cleansing the heart of bad things. What are the 3 gates that lead to hell? Lust, anger, greed, Las Vegas. That's the dwar. What is that? Dwar Nashanam. Okay. So, lust, anger, and greed, this resides in the heart. Festering. Why? Because we have become contaminated. We have made mistakes. We have committed sinful activities. There are reactions. There are different stages of sinful reactions. Some are in your heart and they're in the seed form and they haven't fructified, but they come out later. Some you have already experienced because they have matured. So there are different stages of sinful reactions. Vidunoti, Krishna is cleansing. Now, if you listen carefully to what Prabhupada said, the benefactor of the truthful devotee. Now that is very significant. Truthful devotee means honest, sincere, and serious. The opposite of a truthful devotee is a pretender, the cheater, who's trying to present, I'm this, I'm that, I'm this, but is not really taking the message seriously. In the Bhagavad Gita, Mithyachar, in chapter 3, the pretender. He is so-called doing yoga or religion, but in his mind he has something else going on. So it's important that we always, try. Krishna knows we fall short. That doesn't matter. The only thing that matters is try. As long as you're trying, you'll make it. What does Maya do? This is what Maya does. You're too fallen. Why you even try? That's what Maya does. Her job is to get you to stop trying. That's why, as soon as you notice that, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama. As long as you're trying, then you will be successful. It may take long time, but don't stop trying. That's all. Let's all chant one last time.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
I thank you, and thank you. Hare Krishna.